Hello, welcome to Brain Spill, the laziest show on the internet. My name is Tank, and I remember being 10 years old and starting my own Pokemon journey on Pokemon Red and really just going to try and catch every single Pokemon. Which isn't something you see these days because 10-year-old kids are more interested in how many Instagram followers they have than how many Pokemon they have. How times have changed. That's right, Pokemon. The phenomenon that took the world by storm and still does today. In the past, there has been a few instances where the Pokemon anime TV show has either been censored or outright banned before it reached Western audiences. So there have been a few things which haven't quite crossed over to us. That is something we'll be going into detail on, however. But first, just for a little bit of context as to how we got to this point, Pokemon from the Pokemon Company is owned by Nintendo and is easily one of their most successful franchises, spreading itself over a whole course of video games, movies and TV shows, books, toys, anything you can think of. If you have some merchandise, just slap yourself a Pikachu on there and you got yourself a Pokemon merchandise item. Despite the worldwide appeal and just how wildly successful the Pokemon franchise has been, in Japan, where the Pokemon Company are based, it is probably more popular there than anywhere else in the world. I mean, you can literally walk into a Pokemon Center for real, like real life Pokemon Centers. I really want to go one day. As a matter of fact, because they're based in Japan, normally everything is developed for a Japanese audience and then it is shipped over and translated to other audiences around the world. So episodes and games and everything to do with it normally come out a little bit earlier in Japan and then slowly but surely make their way over to Western audiences. So normally what happens is that if something is released in Japan, say the anime TV show, and there's a problem with it, it either gets edited or cut before it even reaches Western audiences. The extent of this, however, does vary, because on the one end of the scale you have very minor edits that may be made, which isn't really that noticeable. However, on the other side, you have it where sometimes episodes have been completely pulled and never even released to Western audiences, such as this episode where somebody pulled a gun on Ash. Nope, that's not an edited photo, that is from an actual episode. And as you can imagine, it probably wouldn't have gone down too well if it was released over here. So it's probably a good idea it wasn't released. The episode we'll be talking about today, however, isn't that episode. But it's one which probably had an even bigger impact, mainly because it sent numerous children to the hospital. And I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Tank, how the hell is that even possible? How can a TV show cause that much harm to somebody? Well, let me explain to you what happened when the episode Electric Soldier Porygon was released in Japan. The day was the 16th of December 1997, and at the peak of Pokemon phenomenon, this episode was released, which was the 38th episode of the first season of the Pokemon anime, which, like I said, is called Electric Soldier Porygon. Which, researching this was very strange, because looking through the lists of all the episodes, I could recognise pretty much every single episode in that first season of the Pokemon anime, because 10-year-old me watched it all the time. However, this particular one didn't come to mind, mainly because it was never released in the West, and after what happened, it was immediately pulled and never aired again. The premise of the episode was that Team Rocket had managed to get inside of a Pokemon Pokeball transfer system on the computer and were using a prototype Porygon to try and steal Pokemon, and our heroes had to go in and stop them. All seems quite innocent, you'd think. Anyway, jumping ahead a little bit in the episode, there is a moment where Nurse Joy inserts an antivirus in the computer, unaware that Ash and friends are inside trying to thwart Team Rocket's plans. So Pikachu uses Thundershock, and as a result of the blast, it fires some vaccine missiles at the heroes, exploding, and that's kind of where the issue starts coming into things. This particular moment of the episode is the operative thing that we're going to be focusing on, mainly because of the way that the art designers did this scene. What would happen is that when the vaccine missiles were fired and exploded on the episode, 4.6 million households across Japan saw something very odd. Once the explosions happened, the screens flashed a bright red and blue in very quick succession. Although throughout the episode there has been various explosions and flashes of light before, this particular instance created a strobe effect, and with the very quick flashes between the two colours was quite nauseating. These flashing lights were on at a rate of about 12 Hz for over 6 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for someone particularly susceptible to, I don't know, epileptic fits, this is quite an issue. And that's what started happening amongst many people who watched the episode. When this happened, some viewers started experiencing nausea, vomiting, sickness, headaches, migraines, the works. Japan's Fire Defense Agency reported that about 685 children had to be taken to hospital via ambulance because of what happened. And although a lot of people recovered on the way to the hospital, many more had to take some time to stay in the hospital to recover, some of which took upwards of 2 weeks to recover from this, which, to say that you watched a screen for 6 seconds must have had a big impact. Just think, this happened to children who were just simply watching their favourite TV show. Damn it, Pikachu, how could you betray us like that? This whole incident was crazy, and the amount of people that had to be taken to hospital was beyond belief. However, just to add insult to injury, a lot of the news outlets at the time who reported on the story decided it would be a swell idea to replay the scene on the news. You know, the scene that caused about 685 children to go to hospital, and decided to do it to a nationwide audience. As you can imagine, things didn't go well. Sometimes I think I do really stupid things. However, I think about what happened here and realise that not all hope is lost yet. As a result of what happened, the Pokemon TV show was put on hiatus for 4 months as a result of what happened. And in addition, Nintendo stocks took quite a big hit following this matter. Pokemon did eventually make its way back onto TV and the regular schedule started again. However, the episode in question was never aired again and was never released on commercial television anywhere in the world. The show's creators decided to make some pretty drastic changes going forward to make sure something like this never happened again. Not only were Pikachu's lightning bolts much less flashy than they were before, they also added a warning at the start of every episode which said the following. In the opening credits, the show asked that viewers not sit too close to the television screen and to watch only in a brightly lit room. In addition, as a result of this episode, the Pokemon that featured quite predominantly in it, Porygon, was never again shown on the TV show. Which is crazy because he wasn't even the one to cause this to happen. It was Pikachu. So Porygon's just been stitched up, which doesn't sound very fair to me. Porygon and its evolutions, Porygon 2 and Porygon Z, have made very minor cameos, but nothing to the same extent that Porygon had in this episode. So you can tell that they've pretty much just ditched him. In addition to all of this, an investigation was carried out to try and make a determination as to what was the cause of this and what steps could be taken to ensure that something like this never happened again. Not only to the Pokemon TV show, but the results of the investigation would be used more widely across television as a whole. When Pokemon eventually returned to Japanese audiences, the next episode that was released started with an apology from the Pokemon Company, and they had a lady dressed in pink who had explained what had happened and tried to give some of the results for the investigation that they'd done. The way the stage was set up with all the Pokemon plushies and the way that the statement was delivered on the video, you could tell that it was made not only for children but parents alike, a way to hopefully explain to everybody what exactly happened. Part of what is said in this video goes as follows. As I'm sure many of you already know, last year on December 16th, while watching Pocket Monsters, many of our friends suddenly became very ill. Some people were even taken to hospital. First of all, we would like to extend our sincerest apologies to those people and their families. This is the first time anywhere in the world that something like this has happened while watching television. Although we regrettably disappointed those who were looking forward to our show, we decided to take a break from it until we determined what caused this to happen. We immediately formed an investigation team and collaborated with experts to determine the cause of the incident and research a way of making anime in a safe manner. To be fair, love, it was probably those flashing lights. Interestingly, the specifics of the reports and the evidence that came from the research undertaken by various Japanese broadcasters, medical officials, and the ITC from the UK determined that a set of guidelines should be followed whenever making and showing animated and cartoon content on television. Specifically, the report states that programs with flashing images, especially those with red, should not flicker faster than 3 times per second. If the image does not have red, it still should not flicker faster than 5 times per second. Flashing images should not be displayed for a total duration of more than 2 seconds. Stripes, whirls, and concentric circles should not take up a large part of the television screen. It's also very likely why now on pretty much every single TV show you ever see, there's always a warning at the start of the episode because just in case they get sued, they need something there to cover their arses. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to be notified as soon as I upload my next video, be sure to hit the bell button. And if you've got any ideas as to what videos you'd like me to discuss next, let me know down in the comments below. As always, sources used in the video will be in the description. But guys, don't worry, because if I ever decide that I'm going to flash red and blue images at you in incredibly quick succession, I will always make sure that I give you a flash warning. I'll see you guys in the next video. Fantastic.